Hey guys, so I'm going to walk you through a process that we call ratiocination. And what it is basically is you are self-editing your essay. Okay, so we're going to use the rubric that we read a few days ago to make sure that we've done all of these things so that we can turn in a great essay. So, step one is just to look for little tiny mechanical errors and repetition. So, it says look at every first word of every sentence. If any repeat more than once in a row, change them, make them begin differently. So, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to have my rough draft open, ready to work on it. And as I was reading, I noticed that I kept saying the word as a lot. So, as I jumped from bed, as my sister went to wake our parents, as my parents came into the living room. Very repetitive. So I'm going to try to change some of those things. The best way to figure out the how you're going to change is if you can't think of something on your own, come to dictionary.com. You want to change this to synonyms and type in the word as or the word you want to change, right? Scroll down a little bit once it loads. It'll give you some suggestions right here. Okay. So this one says at the time that, during the time that, and so forth, right? So I'm going to come back to my rough draft and I'm going to change this sentence. Instead of saying, as my parents came into the living room, it really, the excitement was happening as soon as I saw the presents, right? So I'm just going to change this. I'm going to say, during the time I waited for my parents to enter the living room, I'm just going to delete the rest. I could not contain my excitement. Okay, it sounds better than just saying as a million times. Okay, the next step is to underline or highlight every punctuation mark. Some of you might struggle with this and some of you might not. Just check your punctuation, make sure you have periods, question marks, exclamation points, commas as well. Do your absolute best with this. If you're not sure about something, just ask me. Okay, number three is to check for simple spelling mistakes. If you see any red squiggly lines, please delete those and spell them correctly. And that's very easy, but just in case you forgot, let me misspell a word on purpose. So I'm gonna do remember. And it's going what? Remember. I'll spell it like that. And it actually changes it sometimes by itself, but if it doesn't, just right click on it and then click on the correct spelling of the word. The next step is to make sure you have a topic sentence. Okay, so you're going to highlight your topic sentence in yellow. If you don't have one, you're going to have to create one. You may need my help with that, but you have to make sure your topic sentence is answering the prompt, right? So, our whole goal in writing this essay is to provide an event to tell a story about something that's contributed to who we are as an American, right? So, I'm going to go back up here, and I actually had to add this little paragraph. And it says, being an American at times has been complicated. Growing up in a blended family and being biracial have helped to shape my American experience. Also, watching my mother make sacrifices so that we could live a lifestyle we truly couldn't afford have all contributed to who I have become in this land of opportunity. So, this real short sentence right here is my topic sentence. It's explaining how I've how my American experience has been. This one also gives a little more detail, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that one as well. It kind of just supports the fact that growing up as an American for me was complicated. Okay, and so does this one. But we'll talk more about this sentence in a second. Okay, so I'm going to highlight those in yellow. The next thing I'm going to do is look for two examples. I'm going to ask myself, did I give two examples that show that growing up for me was complicated as an American? Definitely here, where my mom, I'm talking about all these presents that she got us that we couldn't afford. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that in orange because that's a big chunk of my details. Oops, wrong color. This one right here in orange. And then also my dad's reaction when I overheard him in that conversation. Very much so helps to support the fact that growing up for me as an American was complicated. So there's my two details. I just went and highlighted big chunks of them. Okay. Please make sure that you're doing that as well. Then this number four says delete any sentence that's off topic. Well, I noticed right in the beginning, even though this sentence right here that's adding to the fact that my life as an American has been complicated, it doesn't really have anything to do with my story. Okay. I didn't talk about growing up biracial. I didn't talk about growing up in a blended family. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. that sentence and just take it out completely. So find any sentences that don't really go with your story and delete them. Then the next step is your word choice. So we're going to look for better words instead of saying good, bad, happy. We're going to use better words like amazing, elated, joyful. Okay, so you have to change at least 3 words. I noticed that I use the word small right here. It said my small living room. So I just went to dictionary.com, put small in there, and I changed it to modest. Modest is a much better word for describing our living room because it was just very, no, I don't want to say plain, but we had the bare necessities. We had what we needed. Okay, so I changed that word. I need you to do the same and change at least 3 words. The next step is to make sure that your setting is descriptive, right? Look for adjectives that describe the environment where your story took place. So I described my living room. I said it was the size of a cardboard box. I said the gifts were beautifully decorated. They were red and blue. I talked about the Christmas tree. I talked about the hallway leading into the living room. That those are the details you want to look for. Okay, make sure that wherever your story is taking place, I'm able to understand and visualize what it looks like. Theme and conclusion. I want you to double check to see that you discussed how your event defines you as an American. Use your conclusion, guys, to tie that idea back to your topic sentence. So you'll see in my last paragraph, I tie it all together. And I said it was that morning that I made the decision to promote tradition over gifts, right? I'm on a little bit further. The very last sentence, although being an American has been complicated for me in many ways, and I do enjoy a good gift from time to time, I have still been able to figure out, although years later, that sometimes all it takes is a little note to make someone smile. So just tie your story into your idea, and that can be your conclusion. If you're struggling with that, I'm gonna have you stay on the Zoom with me, and we will work on it together. Okay, I'm able to see your papers as you're working. The last thing you're gonna do is your MLA. I'm gonna walk you through how to do that. So when you're finished with your entire rough draft, you've read through it, you made all the changes that you wanna make, you feel like it's ready to go, you're gonna control A, that highlights everything, right? Then you're gonna control C, that's to copy it, and then you're gonna come to your final draft paper, and I want you to come over here where it says edit, paste without formatting, because that will take away all the colors and all that stuff, okay? So mine automatically did double space, but I'm gonna show you how to do that. So first thing in MLA is that you wanna control A, make sure it's either Times or Arial 12, change the size and the font. Then you wanna come to change your formatting. So you wanna hit line spacing double, okay, and make sure that that is done. You also wanna make sure that all of your paragraphs are indented. So there, just I'm hitting the tab button. Also just gonna bring those up because I spaced too much. Okay, so this is all kind of one chunk, but it's a letter. Keep going. I'm gonna do this for every paragraph. So I'm gonna backspace this if it's too far, and I'm gonna hit tab, indent it just one time. This is still the same paragraph, so I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna backspace this and hit tab, backspace and hit tab. You will do this for your whole essay. Okay, hit tab. You don't wanna have these big spaces and gaps in between. You wanna make sure it's all cleaned up and nice, okay? There we go. So the next step is to do a header, which the way you do that is hit insert, then headers and footer, and you do a header. Okay, so your header needs to be your name, so and hit enter. This is gonna be double spaced as well. Okay, so it goes your name. Let me go back and make sure I'm doing this correctly. It tells you right here, your name, instructor's name, course, and then the date. So then you'll put my name here, okay? Double space, English 3, and then the date it's due. So we're gonna go September 15th, 2020. Oops, I'm not doing anything. Sorry, guys. So September 15th, 2020. Read those off. I don't know why that happened. Not paying attention. Okay, and then you also want to make sure that you have page numbers there. So I'll show you how to do that. So the way you do page numbers is insert, page numbers, and you want them in the top right corner. So you're going to click that box. Okay. Let me get out of here actually first. So make sure you click out of there first and then do the page number. So insert, page numbers, and it keeps going away. If yours does that, don't worry about it. Just leave the header. Okay, I'm not too. It's not that serious. Okay, if yours keeps deleting the page number, just make sure you have a header there. When you print, the page number will show out. Just make sure that you click on page numbers and then you have a header. So the way you undo something is Control Z if it gets messed up. Okay, let's go back and look at our list. So we have double space, Times New Roman, header with the following information, and make sure we have a title. Okay, so whatever you want the title of your story to be, I'm gonna call it, go here. Gotta delete this or move it down one and then center this. I'm gonna call it my favorite Christmas. I could probably think of a better title. I could call it The Christmas I Learned What Christmas Was All About. I don't know. I would sit there and think of something and make it a better title, right? So that's it. Now I'm gonna scroll down, make sure my formatting is good and it looks okay. Okay, and then that's it, guys. Okay, so if you're struggling with any of this, you need to come back to the Zoom and see me. This is going to take probably, I'd say, this class period and one. So if you need anything, stop what you're doing, come back to the Zoom, and let me help you.